welcome to New, Old, and Songs Untold. Told.
It's a great start.
Hold on, let me just do that again.
Great at the start of the episode. It's like I have like a blanket that's like not on my ear. You know what I mean? It's like a safety thing.
All right, hello and welcome to New, Old, and Songs Untold. I'm your host Anna. I'm here with Nick. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right, today we are talking about country singer-songwriter star Kacey Musgraves. I'm pretty excited for this one.
Same.
Yeah, I actually really like her. I don't really like a lot of country, but she's actually one that I actually like. But should we listen or get into some of her history before we do our top 10?
She was born August 21st, 1988 in Texas. Yeah, Golden, Texas.
Yeah.
Which is Golden, Texas. I thought that was funny when I read that. She has won 6 Grammys, including Grammy Award for Album of the Year in 2019, and 7 Country Music Association Awards and 3 Academy of Country Music Awards. I love how the awards for country are just like, they're like the same thing, but they're just named differently.
Yeah, just slightly different.
So she released 3 solo albums and one more as a Texas 2-Bits before appearing on the 5th season of the U.S. network singing competition Nashville Star in 2007, where she placed 7th.
I did not know that.
So she apparently, which I did not know, she released 3 solo albums before the 4 technically.
Yeah, she did like independent releases, which is kind of interesting.
So later, she went on to sign to Mercury Nashville in 2012 and released her critically acclaimed debut album, Same Trailer, Different Park, in 2013. It won Grammy Award for Best Country Album. The album's lead single, Merry Go Round, won her the Grammy Award for Best Country Song. It also featured platinum certified single Follow Your Arrow, which won her the Country Music Association Award for the Song of the Year. In 2015, she released her 2nd studio album, Pageant Material. Her sophomore effort also received critical acclaim and Best Country Album Grammy nomination. She also released a Christmas-themed album, A Very Kacey Christmas, in 2016, which is I did listen to it.
I did not,
but we're not going to count it.
Yeah,
it's actually
it's kind of
pretty
weird.
Solid.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty cool.
I feel like I'd like that, but I just cannot listen to Christmas music.
I get it. I just did because why not? But so her 4th studio album, Golden Hour, released in 2018, was released to widespread critical acclaim and won all 4 of its nomination Grammy Awards categories, including Album of the Year, Best Country Album, and the first 2 singles, Butterflies and Space Cowboy, won Best Country Solo Performance and Best Country Song, respectively. Golden Hour also won Academy Award of Country Music and the Country Music Association Award for Album of the Year, making Musgrave the only the 5th artist to win all 3 major Album of the Year, Grammy, CMA, and ACM's awards.
They all have acronyms that are just impossible to say.
So the first time she did it for like the same album, or the 5th artist to do it for win all 3 for the same album, which, as well as the 2nd artist to win the Grammy, CMA, and ACM, and all genre Grammy Album of the Year.
Awesome.
So that's a little bit about Kacey Musgraves.
Yeah, I know she's known for like her more progressive lyrics and kind of like the more conservative country music genre, but she's kind of known for like tackling controversial topics.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of what makes her stand out, at least to me, in terms of country music. But yeah, should we get into our top 10?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into number 10 for the Spotify list.
All right, number 10. I'm just going to say with Spotify list, I was shocked. Not really. I was kind of surprised of how it turned out.
Yeah.
So, I guess keep that in mind. I was pretty surprised.
I'm excited.
Number 10 is Oh What a World, with 34 million plays off of her album Golden Hour.
All right.
But I guess I don't know what your top 10 is going to be, so maybe it's not that big of a surprise. But
all right. Yeah, I mean, my top 10, spoiler alert, my top 10 is basically just Same Trailer, Different Park, and Golden Hour. Not that I didn't like her second, that's her second album, but I feel like it just wasn't as good as the other one, so I was like, I don't want to put it on there just to like, you know. if I didn't really like it.
Before you say your number 10, what were your thoughts going into kind of listening to her?
Yeah. I mean, I already kind of mentioned I really like her as an artist,
said, yeah.
and I've listened to her first album actually a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we had it or like bought it on iTunes back in the day when you had to like buy things on iTunes.
I think I might.
I think we did.
Physical CD.
That could be too, but I remember listening to it on like an iPod where like you only have a certain amount of songs on an iPod, so I listened to it a lot, and I actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, what were your thoughts going in?
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I've only ever listened through her first album.
Me too, yeah. I was really excited to listen to Golden Hour because I heard a lot of praise about it.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, though, her first one still was my favorite.
Yeah.
Out of them. But I think I liked the other ones more than you. Sounds like you liked them, so...
Yeah, I didn't like dislike any of the songs, honestly. No. But I just felt like the other ones, some of them were better than others.
I was definitely excited to look at her other albums, so that's, I guess... What was your number 10 then?
So my number 10 is Stupid off of Same Trailer, Different Park. That's her first album. Yeah, and this one, it's about like rejecting the concept of love as something that only leaves you hurt and broken. I just really like the sound of this one. The whole first album is amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, just putting that out there. It's a really good album. And it has, it's obviously country. It's more country than her other albums, but I think it has still a unique sound. Yeah. That sounds very her, and, the lyrical content's a little bit different than most country songs. But this has a really cool, like, country beat with, like, a tambourine, and it's kind of more of an upbeat song than some of her other ones. But I love like the faster pace of the melody, especially in the chorus. Like it just kind of like keeps going, and I really like this song. But that's Stupid for my number 10.
All right, my number 10 is Somebody to Love off of Pageant Material. Came out in 2015. It's kind of like
Pageant Material. That was her second album. I couldn't remember what it was.
This song's slower. It's more like of a ballad type.
Yeah.
Where she explores the kind of basic concept of like every human finding love. The lyrics use stark opposites to express that no matter our differences, everyone's kind of out looking for love. I found the song really good. Really like it's not as country as like this is. I think is more just a good old fashioned like love song, honestly.
Yeah.
But you still hear like she has a really good voice, like amazing. Like I love like her voice because it's like it's really solid, but yet it has a little twang to it, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's
really
very distinct. Mm-hmm. I feel like she, her voice is, it stands out in comparison to like a lot of country because she's not like too twangy.
So yeah, like, so if you look at like Miranda Lambert, where you can tell that she's got a lot more twang in her voice when she sings. In her voice. It's funny because when it must be like how I always thought like how people from British peoples or singers can sing and they sound American.
Yeah, people with accents.
But this is the same as like because Kacey Musgraves, I was listening to a lot of her interviews and she has like a deep Texas kind of twang to her but it's like when it sings it kind of gets
and I feel like when people sing and they sound like they have an accent, sometimes they emphasize that just for like the effects they're going for.
So anyways, after that long talk, that was my number 10, Someone to Love.
All right, on to number 9.
Number 9 for the Spotify is Happy and Sad off of Golden Hour, 35 million plays.
All right.
What is your...
My number 9 is High Horse off of Golden Hour. So this was written by Kacey Musgraves and also Trent Dabbs and Tommy English. Kind of like a lot of country singers, she collaborates with other songwriters and stuff.
She like I was reading up like on her first. I don't know if you're gonna spoil any of but the first album she kind of like she's like really close with her other like they wrote like the whole album too. Her and like 2 other people.
Yeah.
Wrote like the whole first album. Like I think not that it wasn't those 2, but
no, it was different people. Yeah, I think I mentioned it at some point. When I talk about
but she songs, is actually pretty like I think like with modern why also like her stuff's a lot different because modern day country some people don't even write their own music, a lot of them don't, where they'll just there's songwriters that just write for them and they sing it.
Yep. And she's kind of thrown through like a singer-songwriter. Like she,
sure.
Sings it obviously, but also writes a lot.
All right, sorry. Back to your.
But yeah, High Horse. So this is kind of like a funky, like dance track almost. It sounds almost like a disco song, in a way. And apparently Musgraves said that she was on a huge like Bee Gees kick when she was creating Golden Hour.
Nice.
And she kind of wondered like what would happen if she mixed like the Saturday Night Fever with like country music basically, and this is what happened, and it's amazing. I really love how like beat driven this song is, because for a country song usually they're not. No. They don't have a lot of like really heavy beats, and it makes it like so good. It bends so many genres too, and that's what like about Golden Hour that I really like, how she kind of just like threw the genre like guidebook out the window and just did whatever she wanted, and it creates such a unique listening experience, I feel like. But yeah, that's High Horse for my number 9.
All right, my number 9 is another song off Golden Hour.
Nice. That's all we're gonna be talking about, Golden Hour and same. I guess you may have more.
I have more actually off Patch of Material. Than this is my only song off Golden Hour. So this is Rainbow. It peaked at number 98 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 17 on the U.S. Hot Country Songs for Billboard. I simply
that's not a word.
Simply think like this is such like a beautiful song, like through and through. It's like you said, this is a good example of this album being completely genreless, because this is just a ballad of sorts of just like poetry almost to what she, because I looked at the lyrics and a lot of the like some songs, some with her too, they get very like formidable in the lyrics, but this one like kind of just is like all like it's a really like, and she sings it very well. The song, it's beautifully sung. The song is kind of about like her like reminding somebody that like you're always like, you're like, they think they're having like their life's kind of shitty, but they're no, your life's good, like you're good kind of thing. And it's a very powerful song, I think, in that sense.
Lyrically it kind of reminds me of, I would just like the theme of it kind of reminds me of Silver Lining also by her.
Yep, I would agree. So that was my number 9, Rainbow.
All right,
on to number 8 for Spotify is Space Cowboy with 51 million plays off of Golden Hour.
I liked the idea of that song, because she was like, I don't know the exact lyrics, but she says like, need your space cowboy. So it's not like space cowboy, but I thought that was kind of clever.
It was kind of funny.
All right, so my number 8 is Oh What a World off of Golden Hour. This is kind of like a trippy song. It's kind of like an appreciation of like nature and love, and she adds like a lot of computer effects to this one. Apparently speaking backstage after Golden Hour won like the album of the year in 2018, she told reporters that it was the writing of this song that was like the starting point of her like genre bending soundscape for Golden Hour, which I could totally see. But I have a quote from her saying like about the album and this song: I just started imagining this land musically where it was possible to keep these elements of country music that are really intrinsic to my music, pedal steel, banjo, and the things that root me in country music. But I also want to explore this new frontier for myself with electronic elements. And then she said it's a big mixture of a bunch of different things, which I just think like that's what like completely makes it a unique kind of sound, because she just takes all these different elements of different kinds of music and puts them into one song basically. But yeah, this is kind of just like it's filled with like positive sentiments and kind of how she's amazed by the beauty of the world. And I really love the direction she took for this like album and the song, because it kind of is like almost like cosmic country, like it has a really swirling vibe, and I really love that. I don't remember who exactly, but there was a few like indie artists that said this album was really influential to them, and I could totally see that, because it just kind of like does whatever it wants and takes a whole new direction in her music. That is Oh What a World for my number 8.
All right, my number 8 is My House off of Same Trailer Different Park, 2013.
That's a classic.
So this song's kind of about her taking a more romantic take on like living in a trailer.
Yeah.
Not kind of shitting on it, which she does in a different song in a sense. But kind of like the describes like the simplicity of living in a trailer park. And I think it's definitely interesting because it's the themes of the song. I think just because you don't live in the South or in a trailer park of any sorts, you can kind of take of, you know, it's your place, it's where you're from kind of theme of the song. And I love the harmonica in the song. It's really good. It ties it in. And her first album does definitely sound the most country out of all of them.
Yes, 100%.
And this song might be one of the most like country sounding songs, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I think the harmonica does that though for me.
I feel like this one's kind of like, you know, a little cutesy, but it's still like honest enough where it's like it still works.
It's kind of like it's weird because it's like it's like I know what you mean though, because it kind of sounds like a really mainstream radio country song, but then it's also like not.
Yeah, because it's still like her honest, you know, feelings about these things. I think is really cool.
So that was my number 8, My House.
All right, on to number 7.
Number 7 is Golden Hour off of Golden Hour with 67 million plays.
All right.
What is your number 7?
My number 7 is Blowin' Smoke off of Same Trailer, Different Park. So this is like, it's kind of a portrait of like a dead-end life of a small-town waitress who's got like big dreams. And it was written with Shane McAnally and Luke Laird. I think those are the people who she wrote most of the first album with. But it's kind of like a rhythmic country blues track, and it's cool. I found out she actually went to Waffle House and like just recorded, you know, the like background sounds of like the diner sounds. They just went there and recorded on an iPhone and used it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool, because it definitely like makes the whole atmosphere of the song. And I love it has more like a rocking country feel to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It's more. It's kind of. It has like an electric guitar, and it's not as like you know, toned down as she usually is. But I really love the story of it too, because it almost is just like showing a little slice of life in like a small town. And I think that's super cool. Definitely a very like relatable song. But yeah, that's Blowin' Smoke for my number 7.
All right, my number 7 is Miserable off of Patch and Material, 2015. It is about the idea of somebody not being happy with what they have and kind of wanting to be selfish and bringing you down with them. Kind of an idea of misery loves company, and that's a quote from her directly.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually enjoyed that song.
And like her voice in this song was, I think, one of my favorites. It's really it's like, I think Passion Material had a few songs that the ones I really enjoyed I put on here, but I think it was more, I think of almost like it compared it to like Lady Gaga's like Joanne album, where it's kind of like parts of it are stripped down more to where the themes are very more basic of like love struck kind of themes, but she's singing it more of a not country, I should say. So I don't know quite how to say what I mean, but that's what I think. Her voice in this is definitely like there's no twang to the song, I don't think at all. But I love it because like it's just a slow down, kind of just drawn out. Like her voice is fantastic. So, and that definitely carries the song. And that was my number 7, Miserable.
All right,
on to number 6. Number 6 for Spotify is Merry Go Round with 68 million plays.
Wow,
off
I
the
thought
same
that would
trailer,
be higher.
different parts. See, that's what I was telling you.
Interesting, huh?
Spoiler alert: there's only 2 albums on the top 10.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
And 8 of them are on one album.
Is it Golden Hour? Is that the one that's... Oh, okay. I knew it was very critically acclaimed, and a lot of people like that album.
I'm just surprised. Well, I'm just surprised it didn't have.
Too.
It is newer, so right. We are on to number 6 for you.
Number 6. So my number 6 is "It Is What It Is" from Same Trailer, Different Park.
Are you gonna steal the cool story about that song?
Probably.
That's alright.
I don't know.
It's a funny story.
Is about her grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot say it.
No, that's fine. Go for it.
Yeah, so this song's kind of about, like, casual relationships and kind of looking for love in all the wrong places. And she explained, it's one of my favorites I've ever written because of how simple it is. And I went into it with the idea, it is what it is till it ain't anymore. I just wanted it to be really simple and really country and really honest. I really feel I achieved that with the people I wrote it with. And I'll save the story. You can tell the story when you talk about it. But I really love like she said, I really love the simplicity of this. It's basically just her singing and the guitar. There's maybe 2 guitars going on, but it's really held up by, like, the beautiful melody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I really like it's kind of a little bit calmer and it's a little bit slower,
Yeah.
and I really like the feel of it. And it's kind of funny, every time someone, like, just says the saying, like, oh, it is what it is, I immediately play this song in my head, and I just finish the line. I go, well, it is what it is till it ain't anymore. Like, every single time.
Apparently, she used to just say that. Like, she said
That's
that
just, like,
once. She said, I listened to. So Spotify actually has a really cool thing where she talks through each song of her first album. It's only like a couple minutes each one, but this one she was saying she would say it is what it is, and then at one day she just said that part, and then it kind of just formed in her head. And
yeah, I don't know why, like, it's constantly stuck in my head every time someone says that. But yeah, so that is it is what it is for my number 6.
All right, my number 6 is Silver Lining off of Same Trailer Different Park 2013. She kind of playfully weaves a series of familiar idioms, each with, like, an added twist to it to show the importance of optimism and, like, kind of hard work to chase one's dream. It's just a fun song, though. And I didn't come up with that great explanation of the song. I got that from genius.com. But that explanation, I think, does, like, explain the song perfectly, because it's kind of like the idioms go throughout the song, and then there is a theme to it where it doesn't really sound like it, though, but there is, like, kind of like, to be optimist, like, you have to have good things, there has to be bad things.
Yeah.
So, and it is a fun sounding country song, though. Like, without even looking at the lyrics and how, like, it's just a fun song.
Yeah.
And she said, I believe she said for this one, this is, like, one of her favorite ones to perform. Since how it, like, how fun it is to, like, play and sound.
Yeah.
They'll, like, I think, I'm mad that I didn't write this down, but I'm remembering the interviews right now. Mm-hmm. But I believe it was this song that when she performed it anyways back in the day on stage, they would get around, like, her and her bandmates would get around in, like, a classic, like, circle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really cool. Yeah. I could totally see that.
Mm-hmm. So that was my number 6, Silver Lining.
All right. On to number 5.
Top 5. Number 5 for Spotify is High Horse with 74 million plays off of Golden Hour.
All right.
Which you had on your list already.
Yes, I did.
What is your number 5?
My number 5 is Butterflies off of Golden Hour. So apparently this is, like, the first song she wrote after meeting her husband. And she said, everything from the lyrics down to the production really represents this floaty, dreamy feeling that I got as soon as he came into my life. And, that's basically what it's about, is, like, having butterflies. But what really drew me to this song was the sound of it. It just sounds so cool. Again, it has that, like, cosmic country where there's, like, there's, like, cool atmospheric sounds in the background with, like, very interesting instrumentals. And it sounds country, but it also, like, doesn't at all. Yeah. And when I first listened to this, I really thought it just sounded very mesmerizing. Like, I just, like, wanted to listen to it again because it sounded so cool. But yeah, that's Butterflies for my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Fine off of Patch It Material, 2015. The song is about masking how you kind of feel after a breakup, saying you're fine.
Yeah.
Spin, which is a magazine, I believe, originally, but they reviewed it and says called the track one of the century's most brilliant rendering takes on masking one's own heartbreak for public consumption.
Wow.
So I think she might have actually, like, broke up with someone that this song's about at the time. But yeah, this song is, like, I think like, I think everyone could relate to this kind of feeling to this song. I know I was pretty relatable, like, that's why I was drawn to it, but it's a really good, like, I think Pageant Material is, like, there's a few songs on there that I've really liked, like, really, really liked. So Fine is definitely one of them. And like, the idea of just, like, going around and, like, saying, oh, I'm fine, you know, kind of thing, especially after a traumatic, like, a breakup or something like that, is very relatable to just about any human being. So
yeah, I don't have any of the songs on my, like, top 10, but all of them, like, within my rating system, how I go through them, they were all, like, one away from being on there.
Yeah.
Like every single song on there I really liked, but they're just not quite as much as the other ones. But yeah, I remember that was a good one.
Her voice in this one too is more of, like, the kind of, like, it's more like the first album. I think this song is very, like, could be on the first album. I think with the theme of how the melody kind of flows throughout the song, kind of like how she, it's kind of like, it's all like a lot of her songs, like, which makes sense. I mean, she's singing them, but I mean, like, this one could be on the first album. I kind of associate it with the same kind of thing. Where, like, one, like, I had before on that album, like, Miserable or even Somebody to Love, like, that didn't fit the first album kind of flow to it. This one definitely would have. So
yeah, still country enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is my number 5, Fine.
All right, on to number 4.
Number 4 is Follow Your Arrow, 76 million plays, some trailer, different park.
All right.
What is your number 4?
My number 4 is Silver Lining off of Same Trailer, Different Park. Yeah, you kind of already talked about this one a little bit, but what I wanted to add is that I really like it kind of has, like, a really signature style that she does, especially in the first album, where it's kind of, like, upbeat in a sense with, like, the instrumentals, but then her vocals, like, the tone of her vocals are almost, like, more, not, like, low-spirited.
I know exactly what you mean, because I was trying to find a way to describe that.
It's so hard to describe. Like, it's like, very honest.
Like, it's
She's
not monotone.
Like,
it's not like a monotone, but it is like a monotone if your monotone was, like, you could sing with a monotone.
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't even know how to describe it. But it's emotional, yeah. I know exactly what you mean, though.
I feel like she, like, is, you know, optimistic
and that's why,
in
like,
this song, but not in a way that's, like, fake.
Yep.
Like, it's very real. Like, okay, it's gonna be okay. And I think that's what makes it sound so reassuring. But yeah, this song again is very nostalgic. I just remember listening to this all the time, and I really love the bridge where everything kind of cuts out and it's just like a muted guitar.
Yep.
I love that part. That's a really cool part. But that is Silver Lining for my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Back on the Map off of Same Trailer, Different Park.
So catchy.
I
oh my
know.
gosh.
She sings about kind of the struggling of finding love after heartbreak and difficulties of trusting someone again. The song is, like, I think the most, like, raw feeling song on that whole album.
Again, she has that same kind of, like, not monotone.
I didn't even, like, I came up with raw sounding, but I don't even think that it is kind of, because the song is very emotional, I think.
I feel like you just have to listen to it to know what we're talking about, but yeah.
And when she was talking about this song, she said, yeah, it's just about, like, getting kind of back on your feet and, like, you know, how hard it is, but, you know, you have to get back on the map kind of thing. And yeah, like you said, exactly kind of how it's very similar to the Silver Lining kind of theme, not really theme, sorry, the sounding of it.
Yeah.
Silver Lining's more upbeat with the music.
Yes.
But this one, same with her voice. It's a very raw, emotional kind of song. So that's number 4, Back on the Map.
All
for
right,
me.
on to number 3.
All right, number 3 is Slow Burn with 79 million plays off of Golden Hour for Spotify.
All right.
What is your number 3?
My number 3 is also Slow Burn off of Golden Hour. Yeah, so she wrote this song about kind of appreciating the smaller things and the finer aspects of life, apparently while sitting on her porch just like on a summer night. And I have a quote from her saying, "I came up with the chorus on a spiritual journey, so to speak. I think anything that puts me or any human outside of their egotistical state of living is a really healthy thing, in moderation, obviously." And apparently she was on LSD when she wrote this song. Or came up with the idea, which it totally sounds like. Like she was definitely on something when she came up with this. But yeah, it completely evokes this feeling of like release and calm. Like it's just so chill and calming. like just the whole sound of it. And apparently the song is very autobiographical. She talks about like never in a hurry, always late. And then like she talks about when she was born in 88, and she kind of just like chronicles different parts of her life, which I think are really cool. Because some of her songs are obviously, you know, observations she makes, but not necessarily about her own life. So this one's a little more personal.
So that was like back on the
sense.
map. That was back on the map. It was more of an observational kind of song.
Yeah, so, yeah. But yeah, that's Slow Burn for my number 3.
I think I know your 2 and 1. I just don't know the order.
Yeah.
The 2 so my number 3. Oh, if this is your number 2, you can just start. We'll just talk about it. But I don't know. My number 3 is Merry Go Round.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
Okay, so that's my number 3. That is Anna's number 2.
Yep.
So we'll just talk about it. I'll just start though. It peaked at number. That's off the same trailer, different park.
Yep.
If you've ever heard any Kacey Musgraves song,
this is the one.
This is the one. This was her debut. I think this was the single that she came out with, which is wild. Actually, kind of that was the first. Single.
They didn't want this to be the single, but
didn't.
She really pushed for this because she just thought it was very honest and connected a lot with it.
So it peaked at like number 63 on the Billboard Hot 100 and 14 on the U.S. Hot Country Billboard charts. The song is kind of an observation on life in like American heartland, or maybe more down south to where she was from. I think she's from Texas, so the Bible belt. Jeez, it uses samples of the nursery rhyme "Mary, Mary, quite contrary" as a continued play on words throughout the song. The later part of the song retells the traditional nursery rhyme Jack and Jill in a more modern version. I find like those, like that two part of the song, so like it's very kind of unique.
Yeah. I feel like this song is really cool. It's almost like eerie at some points. She kind of takes these like childhood nursery rhymes and like follows them to their like logical conclusion where like it's maybe not where it's kind of talking about like being stuck in a certain type of life, and like how like I think the use of nursery rhymes too is like kind of saying like how not everything is just this happy go like your life's not all, she kind of talks about the expectations of life, the life's not black and white, the song's more about the gray area of what life traditionally is to, and how she put it for like the Bible Belt, small Bible Belt communities. Not really. She said she noted this on the interview, like this wasn't about anybody, but she was just observations. And she tried to make it clear, like she wasn't trying to like bash this kind of life. It was just like this is kind of how it is for some people, and how like it can be contradictional to different things. I have a. Do you have anything else to add? Yeah, I have a quote of like where it came from, and she said that obviously it was about like, living in a small town, but it was more about like regretting choices you've made. And apparently it started with one of the co-writers, Shane McAnally. His mom was apparently talking about how her neighbor, she said something like, well, I think she's either selling Mary Kay or Mary Jane or something down the street. So like those literally obviously are in the song. That's funny. And they were like, oh, there's definitely a song there. And they kind of just thought of the different ways that you could use Mary, kind of a play on words, which I think is really cool. But it's a very clever song. It is. It's like very well written. Like for how like I want like for how like simple it kind of sounds. Yeah. Because it sounds very simple, even though it's not. Because like to use the different nursery rhyme to end the song and then make that a theme, and it's really well written, I think. And I think the sound too, it's still distinctly country, but it has a different vibe to it that I can't put my finger on it. It was definitely good she put this out as her single, because I think it kind of like, this is a great example, I think, of who she is as an artist. Yeah, encapsulates what kind of things she wants to express. But yeah, and I think it sounded a lot different than a lot of the country that came out at that time as well. So that was my number 3. That was your number 2, and that was Merry Go Round. So we'll do the Spotify number 2. Yeah. Is Butterflies. 98 million plays off Golden Hour. Then we'll go right back to me. So your number 2. My number 2 is probably your number 1. Probably, but so, I won't talk about it. Follow Your Arrow.
off of Same Trailer, Different Park 2013. It peaked at number 60 in the Billboard Hot 100 and number 10 on the U.S. Hot Country Billboard. The song goes through the kind of like the double standards of life with inspiration message of doing whatever you want despite what other people say or think of it. I think this was the first song I heard from her. Even though Merry-Go-Round was the first single, I think this was the first one I heard on the radio.
I remember watching her perform this. I don't know if it was the Country Music Awards or something when it came out, and I was like, oh, that's such
it's a very simple like country song. Like melody wise, it is a very country song. Like if you hear the music and hear the melody to the song, it's a very simple country song, but the lyrics are not very typical country lyrics. I feel like I keep saying a lot this episode. I apologize. I just noticed. I apologize to the listeners there.
Yeah,
but with the lyrics are like kind of what country music doesn't talk about too much.
Yeah, and this is where like all like her like controversial kind of rebellious lyrics, you know, her reputation for that I think comes from.
It's a really good song especially the theme of like, you know, people are always going to hate something of different people, like so fuck it, just be yourself. And I think that's the best kind of message of that.
Yeah, and I love like, you know, when some people were like, oh, this is like too progressive for a country song, and I think, you know, in 2013 when it came out, she's like, it's 2013, you know, we should be, you know, beyond this kind of thinking. So I think that, that was really cool.
So that was my number 2, Follow Your Arrow.
All right.
Honorable mentions. What's yours?
So mine are Golden Hour, High Times, Step Off, I Miss You, and Rainbow.
Mine are Golden Hour, Dandelion, Stupid, Keep It to Yourself, which I really like that song.
I know. Every song on the first album,
and Slow Burn for rounding that out. It's funny, so my honorable mentions were like, I think 3 of them are on Golden Hour, and yeah that's pretty funny. All right, Spotify number 1, do you have a guess?
I don't know.
It's already been said on my list.
Oh, okay. I have no idea.
It is Rainbow.
Okay.
With 111 million plays.
That surprises me. I did not see that coming.
What is your number 1?
My number 1 is Follow Your Arrow.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. So that's off of Same Trailer, Different Park, obviously. And, you know, you just talked about this, but it's kind of just her urging her fans to be true to themselves no matter what society dictates. And I have a quote from her saying, she says, it's one that maybe 6 years ago I couldn't have written. I had a different outlook then, but just growing and learning more about people in life, it just allowed me to write that. And the intention of the song was kind of, you know, to focus on the hypocrisy of society. Apparently it started as a poem for a friend. It was just like a friend was moving to a foreign country, and she wrote a poem that was kind of like, you know, I think she gave her like an arrow necklace or something, and was just and wrote some of the lines that are in the song in this poem, and that's what started. But I really love like the anthem quality it has. Like it's very empowering and like very singable.
It is.
Especially like the chorus, and it's calming and like kind of quirky in a way, but it also makes like serious statements that are very like honest, and like she's obviously expressing things that she feels that are important. So yeah, I love that about it. But that is Follow Your Arrow for my number 1.
All right, my number 1.
I have no idea what your number 1 is.
Well, it's funny. So my number 1 is It Is What It Is.
Oh, okay.
So that's the grandma story.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot.
So it is What It Is off of Same Trailer, Different Park 2013. You kind of explained what the song was kind of about already, but it's about kind of like casual relationship that may or may not be more. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah. Till it ain't anymore.
It's such the song is such a slow, simple country song, and her voice matches perfectly with the tone of the song and the pacing. Like, I think that's partially why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily I also like the lyric material to it, what it's like the song's about, but I think musically this is one of her better put together songs.
Yeah, and I think it's the last song on the album, and I feel like it's such a perfect way to just end out, round out the album.
She said that exact same thing.
Oh, did she?
She thought it was a perfect way to round out the album. Yeah,
well,
so the funny story I found, you obviously found the same one. So she said this in an interview with Spotify that the song was inspired. Actually, this is separate. So the song, there's a song that was song that inspired this. She said directly is Can I Sleep in Your Arms by Willie Nelson.
Oh, okay.
It's a very similar kind of tone to it. I did listen to it, but the funny story is that her grandma would listen to her music and she never would remember the songs titles, so she would give them like nicknames.
Yeah.
And then her grandma would call this the slut song.
I love that. That's so funny.
Yeah, in the interview, so she's like, for now on, that was known as the slut song.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, it's so funny hearing that. So that was my number one. It is what it is.
All right.
You want to read back what your list was?
Let's do it. So my number 10 was Stupid. My number 9 was High Horse. My number 8 was Oh What a World. My number 7 was Blowin' Smoke. My number 6 is It Is What It Is. My number 5 is Butterflies. My number 4 is Silver Lining. My number 3 is Slow Burn. My number 2 is Merry-Go-Round. And my number 1 is Follow Your Arrow.
Alright. My number 10 was Someone to Love. My number 9 was Rainbow. My number 8 was My House. My number 7 was Miserable. Number 6 was Silver Lining. Number 5 was Fine. Number 4 is Back on the Map. Number 3 is Merry-Go-Round. Number 2 is Follow Your Arrow. Number 1 was It Is What It Is.
All right. So do you have any ending thoughts about Kacey Musgraves?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed all her albums, actually. I enjoyed all 3 of them.
Yeah, me too.
Even the Christmas one was pretty decent. But I think she's definitely somebody I think anybody can get into.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what kind of music you like, I think if you appreciate music, at least I think you can give her a try. And definitely,
she has elements in her music that obviously touch a lot of different genres.
You don't have to necessarily like
universal.
If you hate country, it doesn't mean you're not gonna like her songs.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like if you don't like country, even if you don't like country, you would still probably like a couple of her songs.
Yeah.
I think I read that the main singer in Vampire Weekend was really inspired by her as a singer and a songwriter, because she sings very, she writes songs that are very straight to the point and very simple, but are still very beautiful and meaningful. And I think that that's is kind of one of those things that crosses a lot of genres, just the sentiment of that. But yeah, I love her. I think she's great.
Yep. She's all right.
And you can't tell we like Kacey Musgraves a lot. But yeah, I feel like she's just so unique.
That's definitely the best way. Like, she's very, very unique.
Yeah, she has her own style and her own voice. Yep. It's pretty different than a lot of country music, but
she
also
definitely follows her popular song "Follow Your Arrow" kind of too, especially with like musically, kind of does what she wants.
She does follow her own arrow. Yeah,
yeah.
But I guess that wraps up this episode on Kacey Musgraves. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Songs Untold. Link will be in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe and leave a comment and like.
Made a comment. What was your favorite song?
Yeah.
If you guys have one, if not, or is the one we talked about you're excited to listen to?
Yep.
Let us know.
If you want to listen to these songs that we talked about, you can listen at New Old and Songs Untold podcast playlist on Spotify. Next week, I think we're
doing Irish music.
We're doing Irish music
for St. Patrick's Day. Anna's so excited about this episode.
Yeah. Not a fan.
It's gonna be hilarious. You're gonna have to tune in because Anna talking about Irish music probably is gonna be pretty.
Yeah,
funny.
It's gonna be me just hating my life for like 40 minutes, but yeah, it'll be a fun time. But I think that's it. And thank you for listening and have a nice week.